What's going on, guys? UFC Vegas 50 recap, the rear naked recap. I always like that name. Don't use it as much as I probably should. If it looks like I'm super high right now, it's actually because I've slept for like 3 hours over the last bit. You know, crazy night last night. There was daylight savings time. So again, if it looks like I'm high as shit, it's because I didn't really sleep and because I'm high as shit. So moving into this recap, I got some adrenaline still going, so we might as well pump this bad boy out in 45 minutes to an hour, hopefully not an hour. But anyways, Murzakanov versus Tufan Ninjokui. Yeah, the faith level here, not huge. We're going with Murzakanov, you know, one of these scary Russian guys. It appears on tape like he's going to have a significant speed advantage, and one of these guys that can carry that into the second and third round, keep coming forward, a little bit lumbering. But Tufan Ninjokui is just way too slow. And, you know, he's coming back up to 205 pounds, where I don't know really what I was thinking, but shit, it was not the greatest of reads. Like Tufan Ninjokui, he looked okay. He doesn't throw any volume. That's one knock on him, but he's controlling this fight through the first 2 rounds. It's really hard to gain any real estate on him. You back him up, you back him up, you back him up. You finally get in striking distance, and this ball of a man is standing there, and he's just firing back. His leg kicks were on point. You know, how are you going to take him down? He's just so physically strong. You know what? Through the first 2 rounds, it looks like a bum bet. Again, it's not the end of the world because we've got Murzakanov down on the list of priorities, but you never really want to start the night with a loss. So 3rd round goes, you think you got a losing ticket here, and he kind of just like, I don't even know how to explain it. He kind of just like throws like misses with a left hook, reaches out to try to grab him, and then just throws his bum-ass flying knee. That connects. I'm going to tell you something. Nice flying knees, bum-ass flying knees, if they connect, it don't matter. And Tufan absolutely just fell to the canvas. So those are one of those bounces that went our way. Not necessarily that we really needed it because it just wasn't really high up on our investment list. But if you were a Tufan Ninjokui backer, you got a bad beat here. You had the better guy. If this, he was better. He was going to keep the fight standing. His cardio looked a little bit better. His leg kicks were starting to add up. And Murzakanov got desperate and chucked a flying knee up the middle, and it happened to land. The beauty of MMA, right? The beauty of any sport, you can make some great play, but in football, you make some great play, you're already down 14, 21, what does it matter? This is one of those great plays that nets you a win. So crazy shit, Matt Murzakanov. Where does he fit in the division? Not well. This wasn't a good performance for him. Does he say he's 32? Let me see real quick. Is he claiming he's 32? He's not 32. I know Paul and I addressed that on the preview show. This is very common amongst Russian athletes where they'll get a start a little bit later and they don't want to get looked over because of their age. So they'll oftentimes lie about it. He's slow. He's plodding. It looks like he's probably got bad knees. His athleticism is going to get no better. He is a fighter, not likely to get any better. The dude throws flying knees and comes at you for 3 full rounds. So who cares? He's going to be fun while he lasts. And for Tufan Ninjokui, I think that really showed his limitations. Like, he was kind of borderline bust prospect. And even though he's up 2 rounds here, can definitely come back from this fight, maybe chalk it up to a learning experience. It still wasn't like he was running away with it in the first 2 rounds. Like, he was winning, just wasn't looking good. And I think that's kind of a theme for him throughout his career. So hopefully I'm wrong and he does come back. I just don't really see the upside. Guido Canetti versus Chris Moutinho. So Moutinho's on a line with Murzakanov, and we're lucky to get the Murzakanov one, so let's go with Moutinho. Again, why would you not want more faith in Chris Moutinho? Guys have got a cast iron chin. But does he? Does he? So one of my favorite fighters back in the day was Wesley Cabbage Pereira. We just called him Cabbage, right? Guy used to come in there, he had the dyed hair, do the Cabbage Patch dance, big old heavyweight from Hawaii. I ended up doing a little jail time for like receiving stolen property from a Walmart. An iPod fucking guy. Anyways, he was known to have a legendary chin, right? The commentators would say, oh my God, his head's full with concrete. Mike Goldberg, you know, they're wowing about this guy. Tim Silva hits him with 100 significant strikes in like a round, and dude just takes it. But he would get knocked out. You could hit him, but he's going to get knocked out because they're a defensive liability. You can't just allow yourself to get hit all the time. Homer Simpson, and we laugh at all the time, oh, Homer Simpson effect. The guy just punched himself up. Right, but what happened to Homer Simpson when he met Dredrick Tatum? Oh, baby. Dredrick Tatum just hits too hard. You're a defensive fucking liability. You're going to get hit. Not the spot to get hit. And with Guido Canetti, he is a 1-round fighter, but you knew he was going to bring the heat. The reason why I took Moutinho personally was I thought that he would put the pressure on, which he did, and it would eventually gas out Canetti. And if he could just survive the first round, he would start to pull away. His problem is, though, he fought Sean O'Malley exclusively, moving forward recklessly. Sean's just touch and go and touch and go. He's not really sitting down on his punches. It's a lot of touch and go. but you got the guy moving off his back feet for the most part. Now everybody says, oh, Chris Moutinho, they love him. He's a fan favorite. You come into this fight and you try to go with the same approach. It cost Terrence McKinney as well, right? We'll talk about that later. But when everybody's on you on just like, this is you, it causes you to not fight other game plans. You only fight the same game plan. And where he actually had a speed advantage over Canetti, in my opinion, and his technical boxing looked crisper. He was having some good success in the early portion of the round, but he's getting greedy. He's hitting and he's just marching forward, hands mid-level. And the difference between O'Malley and Canetti, even though O'Malley's 3 times the fighter Guido Canetti is, don't be surprised if they match up Guido Canetti with Sean O'Malley, by the way. The difference is Sean O'Malley touch, go, moving off his back foot. Guido Canetti plants his foot and he swings. And the second he had Moutinho rock the first time, he didn't let up. Live, early stoppage. Why? Because Moutinho can take a hell of a punch. O'Malley put a beating on him. Herb gave the guy a rough go, and everybody universally said, oh, they should have let him fight on. Why not let him fight on here? The replay, motherfucker is hurt. So who am I to judge? If you're taking that much damage, and by the way, he takes a lot of damage here. Took a lot of damage in the Sean O'Malley fight. His last 2 losses prior to that, also by knockout. The Tony Gravely fight, 4 rounds of beating before he got finished. So his last 4 losses now have been by knockout. Doesn't have this crazy chin everybody thinks. Defensive liability, and maybe his offense is just not quite there. For Canetti, he's 41 years old. This is a great win, baby. You just planted this kid, took him out of there, did what O'Malley couldn't do, and hopefully talk your way into more fights, definitely. But maybe better fights, right? Something that might pay a little bit better. So good shit for Guido Canetti. It burns off my ticket, and it burns off the ticket below it. So Roundtree and Brundage is also dead in the water, and so is Aldrich and Kirk. That hurts. But whatever, man. You can't get greedy. It's one of those things. Guy got caught. I should have known better. We got to move on. And we move on to Cody Brundage. So on a personal level, I don't really have much investment here. The investment I would have is kind of burnt up on those bottom tickets, which died out. So I think Cody Brundage is going to win. He's got a wrestling advantage, right? Fight starts. Oh my God. My God. This is about as close. Do 10-7s exist? Because if they exist, this is your argument for a 10-7 round. He absolutely, Dolce and Buglia, absolutely beat the shit out of Cody Brundage. Brundage comes in, he tries to throw a couple strikes, he tries to close the distance, he tries to get a hold of him. But again, similar to a Tafon Ninjokui, this guy is very muscular. And taking him down is 1, not easy, and 2, very exhausting. Going to exert a lot of energy, especially if the guy's fresh early in the first round. It's going to have to be a grind, a process, break him down. Not going to happen early. Doesn't get him early. And he's in on a single, and Dolce just hits him with a couple hammer fists. And it seems like he's rocked off a couple short little hammer fists. At that point, Dolce just starts pouring it on, but he's being reckless. He's almost throwing caution to the wind. He's just going for it. He knows he's got Brundage hurt, but instead of taking his time stuffing the takedown, creating space, and hurting him again, he's just kind of going balls to the walls. And they're landing, and they're landing hard. And at no point do I think the ref should stop it. But throughout the entirety of it, I'm thinking the ref should considering stopping it, because it's one-way traffic. Now, getting late in the round, I think Brundage might be able to survive. If he does survive, he can rally back in the second and third, but he'll need a finish because this is a 10-8 round at the bare minimum and looks to be a 10-7 round. But then there's the problem with Dolce. He threw so much into the ground and pound. He threw so much into the strikes. He's having so much success there. He gasses himself. And that's why he shoots a lazy-ass takedown. Why would a guy who's got you completely rocked, pillar to post, you're on skates, he's been beating you to the punch all night, you got no offense standing for him, and the ref's a few punches away from maybe stopping this thing, why would that guy shoot a takedown? Why would that make any sense? Because he's tired. He's looking to just slow the pace down. He blew his load. He's done. And when he shot that lazy takedown, Brundage snatches up the guillotine. MMA, and I tweeted it, is the greatest sport in the world. Because that shit happens. Kind of happened in the first fight where Murzakanov was down 2 rounds and lands a flying knee, but Brundage is out of it. No point does he look competitive in this round. And he snatches up the guillotine choke. You got to train everything. Can't just be a striker. Can't just be a wrestler. Can't just be a grappler. You could just be a cardio machine. Those guys are the best to bet. Just go forever, right? You can have poor technique. As long as you got a good chin and great cardio, you will cash in on tickets. In this case, I don't know how good Brundage's cardio was, but it was better than Dolce's, and that's all that mattered. So Brundage cashes. It doesn't really do anything for me, but nice to be on the right side of things. I don't know how good my read was because this really didn't play out the way I thought, but at least it's nice to be on the the plus side of it, because he was a slight underdog as well. I didn't have a whole lot of underdogs. That was one of them. Good to get one. Miranda Maverick versus Sabino Mazzo. Love Maverick, right? I think everybody does. Early in the week, she's like minus 300. Talked about it on the previous show with Paul. Love Miranda Maverick. She moves to 350. I think goes off at fight time, minus 400. So everybody jumps on the Maverick train. And I wanted to top ticket. I wanted to go with the top ticket of Ankalaev and Miranda Maverick. Problem is I got to tweet them out on Saturday. So I tweeted out on Saturday, and then the line moves. So at this point, it's like minus 360 Maverick. So if I put Maverick and Ankalaev, who's like a minus 800 favorite, on the top ticket, it doesn't pay shit. It pays like minus 230. Not good enough. Got to be a little bit riskier. So we go with Pereira on the top ticket, and we move Miranda Maverick down to the second line. But that has nothing to do with the confidence that I got in there. It's everything to do with the pricing. I didn't want to put 3 people on the top ticket because it's not Bellator. It's UFC. But I mean, she was as advertised. Now, did she look great in this fight? I don't actually think she did look all that good. The problem is it was a perfect style clash in her favor. And Sabino Mazzo just fails at this level against this type of opponent every time. She's not physically strong enough, right? She's a good rangy striker, but she gets bullied around in the clinch. She gets backed up. And ultimately, if you get her to the ground, the grappling's just not there. Now, I will give her credit. She leaves King's MMA, one of the best gyms in the world, to go down to Connecticut and train with Glover Teixeira and Danbury. That's an excellent move. Work on your grappling. And your grappling did look slightly better. Slightly is not enough. Miranda Maverick is physically fit. One of the stronger girls in this division. And listen, once she got a hold of her, that was kind of it, right? The first round, I thought Miranda Maverick was actually doing a decent job with her striking. I just didn't know if she was doing enough to wow the judges confidently. And then, boom, gets the takedown. Sabino Mazzo gets back up. She just muscles her back to the ground. Mazzo gets back up. She just muscles her back to the ground. 3 takedowns in that first round. Decent enough striking. Definitely our round. Second round, I'm thinking to myself, why doesn't she just go right back to the takedown? Right off the get-go. Right off the hop. Just literally push her back against the cage and take her down. But instead, she's playing the striking game for a couple minutes. Plays it for a little bit. I don't necessarily think this is going great. This is not a great round by any stretch. And then Mazzo makes a mistake. Hits the ground, hits a quick scramble, and right away you got a girl with, I don't know, with just a hell of a python on her for an arm around your neck. That was it for Mazzo. Hard to discredit her too much because she's still very young. She's only 24 years old. But this is a clear issue in her game. So the UFC can either match her up with strikers who aren't going to take her down, and she can have these fun type of brawls, I guess. But they gave her that, and Maria Agapova, and again, that didn't go her way. You give her an aged veteran like Alexis Davis, that don't go her way. You give her another fellow rising prospect like Miranda Maverick, who, by the way, took the fight at short notice, that don't go your way. It's difficult for Mazzo. She may wind up in a Bellator and then flourish down the road. Not a complete write-off, but a write-off for right now. And for Maverick, took care of business. Did she look great? No. But she was on short notice, right? So I'll give her a little bit of a pass there. And she looked every bit as good as a top ticket play. So we're happy with that one. Damon Jackson versus Kamala Kirk. This is another fight that at this point just don't have no investment on it. The Chris Moutinho loss earlier kind of burned off those bottom 2 tickets, but you want to be on the positive side of things. And I'm going to straight up admit this one. So people are like, oh, they're happy with the Bellator plays. They're happy with the Eagle FC plays. They're happy with the UFC plays. They're like, oh, this was accurate. And people always reach out to say, your read was good. This is a fucking bad read on my part. This was a bad read. Did it matter? No, because we had to lower on the list. It wasn't like I was confident on either side. It's that from what I saw, completely did not happen. Kamala Kirk on paper had good enough takedown defense to stuff the wrestling of Damon Jackson and has superior striking skill set, neither of which proved to be true. The first round, Damon Jackson fought like a wild man. He came at him. He's putting a whole lot of pressure on. He's having a lot of success. Kirk's staying relaxed. He's doing a good job of that, but the judges don't necessarily like that shit. It's a close round until, I don't know, a minute and a half left. Damon Jackson hits the takedown. Didn't see the takedown coming. And then beyond that, does take him down. And it's like, oh, well, here's the one thing I did know. Damon Jackson's got awesome grappling. I just didn't think he had the wrestling to get the fight down to use that awesome grappling, but he did. And in the second round, it was like instantaneous. He knew he had Kamala Kirk dead in the water. I can take you down. I'm a better grappler than you. Well, that's exactly where I'm going to take this fight. Took him down, roughed him up, submitted him. At nothing in the preview show did I say about this fight come true. Absolutely nothing. This was a terrible read, but that's why it was at the bottom of the list of priorities, just because I didn't know either way. I didn't put any disrespect on Damon Jackson's name, but poof, he looked career best, man. Excellent win for him. definitely rejuvenates his career for a little bit. Is he a top contender? No, but he's going to have a lot more of these mid-level fun fights, and he'll cash more tickets if he comes out like this. And for Kirk, this is a devastating setback. Like, at least in the Billy Q fight in Contender Series, he had a good first round before getting mauled on the ground. Damon Jackson just mauled him on the ground whenever he wanted. If he ever drew a guy whose last name ended with an O and a V, what do you think would happen then, right? So very limited side to Kirk, although I don't mind him. Javi Basharat versus Trevin Jones. We got Basharat. We end up having some confidence in Basharat. So he is on line number 4. We got Ankalaev, Pereira on the top, of course. Maverick, Song Yadong is our second line, and that is a 4-person parlay. You've got all 4 of them on. The third line, Yusuf, Semelsberger. That's your 6-person parlay. I don't know why I got to explain this, but my feed just got really blown up by people that didn't understand. Our 4th line's 8-person parlay. We need Drew Dober. We need Basharat. The other lines are all dead in the water because Moutinho lost, right? So I want our guy to win, and I might have some small action on a single bet, something stupid to have a little bit of extra interest. Nothing meaningful. That's all dead to us at this point. But not Basharat. We need a Basharat victory here. So Trevin Jones, to me, is one of these guys that is losing. Winning knocks you out, right? That's kind of how his run's been so far in the UFC. The Timur Valiev fight, he's easily getting outclassed 10-8 in the first round. He ends up clipping him. The Mario Batista fight, loses the first round. He ends up clipping him in the second. His last fight against Kakramanov, I just didn't really look good all that way around. So yeah, I don't particularly love him all that much. And Basharat minus 150, excellent price tag. He's super elusive. Guy stays at the outside real well. He's good at avoiding damage, avoiding punches. And for a guy like Trevin Jones that really just doesn't really throw a whole lot of volume because he's waiting on that kill punch all the time, doesn't throw no volume. If you're not hitting the guy and you're not throwing enough, you're going to lose a judge's decision. So I got Basharat winning the first round. Second round's close. I scored a Basharat. Some people want Trevin Jones. Third round's Basharat. Could be a 30-27. Could be a 29-28. Is it a close decision? Yeah, this is not a walk in the park. Was he lined properly at minus 150? Yeah, okay. This was a close fight. But our guy won, right? I don't think anybody's debating that one. And this was a solid victory for him, right? I mean, you coming into the UFC now, you're beating a guy like Trevin Jones that's got a little bit of hype, has beaten some good opponents. You put on a good display. You keep your undefeated record intact. You performed under the bright lights of, your first UFC appearance. I guess he's fought on Contender Series, which is similar in the Apex, but this is good stuff for him. He's a young fighter. He's getting better, and people that have trained with him say that he's excellent. Aljamain Sterling tweets it out on the live show. This guy's going to be a problem with the. If you want to stand striking with him, he's going to be a problem. And Trevin Jones opted to stand striking with him, so he had to pay. I think Basharat moves up the rankings, obviously, and for Jones, he can still crack guys. He can still knock them out. He's always going to be a dangerous out, but he's limited. And I don't like backing these guys that only got a puncher's chance. Like you gotta bring more. He doesn't have enough wrestling to bring into his BJJ black belt into play. His BJJ black belt really isn't all that good. I don't think. His power is hellacious, but he doesn't throw enough to actually get it going. And he's just not quick enough. He looks fast, but you saw the speed advantage against Basharat. Just not really quick enough to get the job done. So that it is what it is. JJ Aldrich versus Julian Robertson. This was the killer for me because Moutinho lost. Because I did like JJ, and I should have had JJ higher up. But you know how women's MMA goes. Miranda Maverick, she's going to cruise. It's an excellent grappler versus striker matchup, and we love to hammer those spots. This is a grappler versus striker matchup, and we got the striker here, and we don't usually do that. So it wasn't a spot that I wanted to have the most investment in. But I like JJ. She definitely should have been on Moutinho's line with Murzakanov. So that's a mistake on my part, but you live and you learn. She's traditionally maybe had a grappling problem, but this girl grinds in the gym all the time. She was a perennial training partner for Rose Namajunas, and you see Rose, who came in as a striker with a lanky build, turned into one hell of a credible wrestler. JJ's her lead training partner. No doubt about it. She's grinding in the gym and wrestling all the time. At first, it's not enough. She's still getting taken down. She's still, ending up in these close-ish fights. But she keeps improving. And now that Miranda Maverick's in camp with her, you had a girl that's way better than Jillian Robertson. Proved it when she beat the crap out of Jillian Robertson in camp with you the entirety of the time. Strong, physical, looking to take you down, and you're trying to keep this thing standing. Use your superior striking. Is her striking world-class? No, but it's good. And at this level, women's 125, it's better than the vast majority of the division. Does she have power? No. She's going to be a points fight, a point style fighter. not only do you want to bet JJ Aldrich, you should have just bet her by decision because you know it's not going to be a finish that's going to come out of it. But she just picks away at you. It's methodical. You know, it's a winning approach. And now that her grappling, because by the way, Aldrich wins the first round, pretty clear cut. Second round, Aldrich is winning. And Jillian Robertson finally shoots a takedown. Why she waited so long to try to use her grappling, why she tried so long and waited so long, I'm not 100% sure. Maybe she was worried about gassing out. But she finally shoots a nice takedown, gets it right into a back take, both hooks in, right in front of her own corner. Dean Thomas, one of the best in the game. This is the perfect spot she wants. And JJ Aldrich just literally lazily, he didn't even look really all that good, just turns into her. So Robertson's grappling is really not all that elite, and it's the only part of her game. She came out with a game plan of striking with Aldrich. That was her game plan because she struck for like 90% of this fight without really attempting to get it to the ground. And why her or her camp or anybody involved would have thought that just purely striking with Aldrich for 15 minutes would have been a winning strategy? Nobody came up with that game plan. She needed to wrestle, and she just didn't do it enough. The one time she did, she had some success, and then lost it immediately. So all 3 rounds, JJ Aldrich, clean walk in the park. Fortunately, I just didn't really have that much invested on it. Matt Semelsberger versus AJ Fletcher. We got an investment here. Not only on the financial side of things, where Semelsberger's coming in as a third-line guy, right? Third-line guy. You want to hit that third line. You need Matthew Semelsberger. Also, me and Paul have seemingly talked shit back and forth about this. I don't know. I don't know what I did to rub AJ Fletcher the wrong way. I thought he was too short, you know? He's 5'10". He's not like he's short. But for 170 pounds, when you're taking on a guy that's 6'1", like Matthew Semelsberger, he was too short in the matchup. He's giving up an 8-inch reach advantage. Dude has little T-Rex arms, 67-inch. Little Cody's not all that big. I'm 5'8.5". Like a 72-inch reach. Why? I don't know. Reach and height, it's just, I don't know. It doesn't really matter. This guy's got 67. So even though he's built like a brick shithouse, Semelsberger just too big, too long, stay to the outside. I think AJ Fletcher's a first-round guy. Paul completely disagrees, and that's fair. You know, we kind of talk a little bit of trash back and forth. And so I want to win for the third ticket. That's priority number 1. Little bit of razzle on Paul Shag. Okay, right. That would be number 2. So let's go Matt Semelsberger. Fight starts. AJ Fletcher, who's in excellent shape, even though he's a smaller, stockier guy, he is built, man. This guy is in great shape. And Semelsberger kind of looks like a hippie who just rolled out of his van. Like, his hair's all over the place. I don't know what he was thinking. I don't even know why the commission was like, Doc, you seriously going to go out there like that? Like, it looks so greasy, and it was everywhere. And half the time he's like wiping it out of his face. Like, I don't know what I got myself into, but I'm not liking how this one starts. So they're exchanging some shots back and forth. And here's another thing I didn't really notice about AJ Fletcher is he had played football at a fairly high level, right? He's a good athlete, but I thought his striking was fairly robotic, fairly herky-jerky. He throws like a spinning wheel kick. The Semelsberger, thank God, landed or blocked. But holy shit, man, I underestimated this guy's athleticism and his striking prowess. He's clearly been working on it. Not only is he getting the better of Semelsberger in the brief striking exchanges, because it goes on for like 30 seconds, it takes him down. Bull rushes him. The takedown's not great. His wrestling, not great. But when you're that physically strong, what you lack in technique, you make up for in sheer force. And that's what he did. He just brooded him to the ground. Once he got Semelsberger to the ground, too strong physically. Not landing a ton of ground and pound, but he passes to mount. He fishes for a guillotine choke. Semelsberger has a brief moment where he's able to almost get back up. But again, Fletcher lashes onto the guillotine choke, back to the ground, back on top, mounts him. But it's not a 10-8 round, okay? That's the key here. It's not a 10-8 round because there wasn't enough damage toward the ground and pound, and the submission attempts, although nice, weren't close enough to actually sticking. It was a dominant round. He spent 4.5 minutes on top in the first round. It's most definitely his round, but it is not a 10-8, okay? So we move on to the second round, and am I feeling bad about this? Yes, but not overly, because this is kind of where we wanted it. AJ Fletcher's a first-round fighter. Almost all of his wins come in the first round. And the way this guy's built and the way this guy fights, he goes hard in the paint. When you go that hard, you're going to gas out. He's a new territory, UFC debut, taking a guy in Semelsberger that's like 4-1 in the UFC. Like, he's experienced, and he's not going anywhere. He's got good cardio. He's a volume guy. So I need the second and the third round to go our way, right? We just bombed the first round, and if we give up another takedown, we're in some serious shit here. But could be worse. This is we need Fletcher to gas out. That's the key here. We need Fletcher to gas out. That's what we're expecting. That's what we need now. Second round, Fletcher looks pretty good, dude. He comes out. He's beating Semelsberger to the punch, man. He's landing the better shots. Semelsberger will try to throw a little rinky-dink kick. He would try to get his volume going, but he would just get stuffed right away. Fletcher wouldn't let him get more than 2 punches going. He'd stick him with something. He's coming up short on some punches. He doesn't look particularly tired. He wins the first 2 minutes of the round, and then he scores a takedown. So we're fucking done at this point. We're done at this point because Semelsberger showed in the first round once he got taken down, couldn't get back up. He lost the first round, borderline 10-8, but wasn't. He's losing the first 2 minutes of the second round. He just got taken down. He's probably not getting back up. We're done. We're fucking done unless we can get a third round finish. That's what this is looking like. And then you got to rewatch it. He goes to scramble and he grabs the cage and stands back up. That's, my friend, is your TSN turning point. That changed the game. I don't know how many people picked up on it. Commentary team didn't really seem to say anything. But being able to grab the cage allowed him to shift his hips and reset his balance, which allowed him to get back up. As soon as he gets back up, he now pushes Fletcher off, and Fletcher's tired because Fletcher just got a takedown and probably still should have this fight on the ground. But now he's tired and he needs to muster up the strength for a second takedown, which he gets. But Semelsberger gets back up right away. He would try to put his hooks in on Semelsberger, but I don't know, maybe like a position before submission kind of thing. He should have took his time. But he's tired, and he's a powerhouse guy. They don't take their time. They just go, go, go. He's starting to slow down. Semelsberger scrambles up the second time. It all came up from that initial takedown. Once he got up from that one, he's able to get up from the other ones because he's just bellying down, giving up his back, scrambling up, getting back to his feet. There's probably only about, I don't know, is there 90 seconds? Is there a little less than 2 minutes? It's definitely in AJ Fletcher's round at this point. Semelsberger lands a couple decent shots. Gets the fight down himself. Once he gets on top, that was it. Fletcher had nothing off his back. For as good as this guy was standing, for as athletic as he was and strong as he was tired, and therefore he was not strong enough to shrimp up, get up to a hip, and just muscle his way back up. He accepted the position. Semelsberger got a good 2 minutes of top control, landed some good elbows, stole the round. Cage grab helped. Stole the round. We'll take it. It's 1-1 going into the third. But Fletcher's tired. And again, this is where we want to fight. But dude comes out hot for the third round. I seriously underestimated this guy. Paul was right. I'm glad I moved it down. I would have top taken it Semelsberger. I really would have. I liked him. I really liked him. But Paul talked some sense into me, made me reconsider, and made me realize, dude, it's Matthew Semelsberger. Why would you have him on a top line? You out of your fucking marbles, dude? So I drop him down on the third line. But all the same, I'm not feeling great about it. Fletcher's doing some excellent work. Scores the takedown again, goes to put his hooks in, but he makes the same mistake that he did in the second round. He puts the hooks in and allowed just Semelsberger to just explode back up. Semelsberger had the deeper gas tank. He put it to good use. He started to finally touch him up. And then just a blast double of his own puts Fletcher right on his back. Now, Semelsberger at no point in this fight attempted to wrestle. Apparently, maybe his wrestling is not that good. He just picked him up and dumped him like nothing. Made you wonder, why didn't you go and push the issue a little bit more? I don't know. Why is this fight so close if you could just go out and do that, right? But it all comes down to fatigue, right? No. Once he took him down, you knew from the second round that Fletcher likely wasn't getting back up. And unless he got the cage grab to do something about it, it was just going to be Semelsberger grounding him for the rest of the round. He did. He landed the shots. He grinds out a decision. A close decision. This was not a minus 220 Semelsberger, which is what it went off at. Paul was right. I'll give him his credit there. We survived. But we won. We won that fight. It's not like we got a bad decision like the Ray Borg fight. We won that fight. Alex Pereira versus Bruno Silva. So now we're starting to get into high stakes here, right? We got Alex Pereira, and he's on the top ticket. All the good work that we've done, all the building up that we've done, it's moot if we lose this top ticket. In fact, we're all taking a bath collectively if my top ticket loses. If you're following me, sure, not everybody would have been highly invested in Alex Pereira, I'm sure, just because striker versus striker. Why did I take him? Well, I wanted Maverick, but the minus 185 on Pereira just seemed too good to pass up. If it's going to be striker versus striker, and it's going to be a striking match, I'm going to take one of the guys that's one of the best strikers on the entire planet. The other guy's a good MMA striker. He's able to punch you out, but similar to my boy, the legendary Melvin Manhoff, he's got all the power in the world, the most power in the world. But when he fights elite level kickboxers, he just comes up short because you need more than power. You need the rest of it. And Pereira's just going to eat him up. And whereas some of that's true, no, Bruno Silva is an elite level striker. He hung with conceivably one of the best guys on the planet. He hung hard. First round is Pereira's. He's learning the cleaner techniques, but Bruno's giving him a fight, right? He fights way better than everybody expects. Second round, Bruno's giving him one hell of a fight. Whenever Pereira would hit him, Bruno would just unload. The way this guy punches, he clipped Pereira a few times. But you know what? The world kickboxing champion, I guess, got one hell of a chin on him. So he took his best shots. The second round's close. I was inclined to score for Pereira personally, but I did see some opinions online that Silva might have won it. I think that's more, he's doing good. He's doing way better than everybody expects. So it's like, oh, that was close. That was a good round for him. That was his round. I don't think that was the case, but it was a good round. We need to win the third round. We need to win the third round just to put everything to rest, right? No uncertainties. And he kicked the shit out of him in the third round. Bruno is still throwing wild and loopy. He still came to fight, but he's just missing everything. Pereira had his timing, he had his speed, his cardio was much better, probably from fighting 5 rounds in kickboxing, even though they're only 3-minute rounds. So, but really, what does it matter? He just like seemed good to go, and he definitely stole it away in that third round. Beat him up pretty good. Another thing with Bruno Silva, what hell of a chin. He took some big shots in that third round. Dude kept coming. So normally when you lose, it's like, it's limitations and back to the drawing board. And maybe you're going to get released. None of which is true with Bruno. Bruno's stock went up. I think people love Bruno now. He is the biggest KO artist in the division by the numbers, right? 19 KOs and 22 pro victories. Bruno's the man, right? And now that you know he can take a chin, now that you know he can bomb out with people for 15 minutes, like sky's the limit for fun fights for the guy. And of course, he's capable of beating anybody if he lands that right shot. So great stuff from Bruno. And then for Pereira, I don't know if people are expecting more of him, but this was a good measured approach. I think he didn't fight him like, oh, I need to knock him out to have everybody talking about me. It was just, let's go get the win, be surgical, be methodical. I want to cash tickets. That's how you cash tickets. That's what he did. I'm not complaining in the slightest bit. I thought he looked good.
College basketball fans, join the action on the court during the biggest tournament of the year with DraftKings Sportsbook. Turn your team's victory into your own big win. New customers can bet $5 on any team to win and get $200 in free bets if they do. It's that simple. If they win, you win. If Sportsbook isn't available in your state yet, you can still join the college hoops action with DraftKings Pools. Everyone can play free pools all March long for a shot at a share of over $250,000 in prizes. Simply join a pool and answer questions like, who will make it to the next round? Who will hit the most three-pointers? Then track your results. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code DOP. Bet $5 on any college hoops team to win and get $200 in free bets if they do. If they win, you win with promo code DOP this week at DraftKings Sportsbook. 21 plus. Restrictions apply. See show notes for details.
Drew Dober versus Terrence McKinney. This is like a swing one all week for me. So Drew Dober is on the ticket with Basharat, which is line 4. We need this. We need this if we want that big payday, right? It pays plus 15.53. So if we want the big payday, we're going to need this Drew Dober one. And there's a lot of good, compelling arguments for why Terrence McKinney is going to win, right? Because he's a better wrestler and he just hits like a brick shithouse. The guy's wild. He looks like a legitimate prospect. He's the kind of guy that could win on any given night if he lands that one shot. But you got to go with the experience of Drew Dober. He's fought some of the best guys in the division, trains with some of the best guys in the world. He's got good cardio. He's got good durability. His striking's good. His wrestling could use some work, but his get-up game's pretty solid. So I have no reason to believe that Drew Dober won't weather the early storm and beat Terrence McKinney. But it's going to be a sweat the whole way through, and that's exactly what it proves to be. Terrence McKinney, this guy is billed not real. He's not billed as advertised. He's billed as advertised in the sense that explosive, huge power, first-round finisher. That all proved to be true. I didn't think he'd be able to rock Dober like that, but lands a beautiful shot early, sits him down. Dober immediately pops back up. He's with it. But now Terrence McKinney smells the fire. He just gets on him. He gets on him. Knee up the middle. Boom. Drops Dober a second time. Dober back up. McKinney all over him. Takedown. Some decent ground and pound. Back up. McKinney on him. And this is where experience is such a valuable thing. And this is where it goes back to when I talked about the Chris Moutinho fight, where other people will just hype you up too much. Terrence McKinney is a first-round fighter. He finishes his fights in the first round. He bum rushes people. He puts on incredible pressure, and they're usually lesser men than him, and they falter. Drew Dober nearly faltered twice, but the dude is tough. I know Paul raves about his chin, the physical shape of it. And he's not wrong, man. Drew Dober's got one hell of a chin on him. It's checked out throughout the course of his career, and it definitely saved him here. But McKinney fought a terrible game plan because he had the speed advantage. He He could have stayed to the outside. He could have matadored him. He could have landed that beautiful shot. First punch you land, sits him down, right? Knee up the middle, sets him down. If you just stay at range and keep picking and choosing your weapons wisely, you're just going to keep sitting him down. And eventually he's going to get put away. Instead, he just rushes in. Everything he throws, head kick, tries to knee up the middle again, punches, goes through an explosive takedown. Dog, you need to slow down. But he's known as the guy that just goes out there and beats the shit out of people really fast. He fought a terrible game plan. Drew Dober, the savvy veteran that he was, weathered the first early minutes. And then Terrence McKinney, I wouldn't say quit, but he got tired. And then he half quit. No, he quit. He got tired and he got dropped. And whereas Drew Dober popped up both times when he got rocked, he dropped, he covered up. He was tired. His body language is dull. He's flat. He's done. Now, does that take anything away from his talent? No. And with the right coaching, not to discredit his coaches, maybe they just got to get in his ear. I don't know. With the right game plan, the right training, this guy could be a serious problem. But if he continues to fight like that, not going to work. Drew Dober exposed him here. Good stuff. And on a card where there's a lot of heavy favorites, whatever. Drew Dober minus 160. Good line. Ended up being a good line. But it almost blew up on our face. What can you do? Khalil Roundtree, Carl Roberson. This is the second underdog I took on the card, Khalil Roundtree. But again, the tickets that had Khalil got burnt up on the bottom from Chris Moutinho. So, the level of investment isn't quite there. Not that it was to begin with, because it was just really low on the level of priorities. But again, you got to take a couple dog shots here and there. Not that it was a real dog shot, but plus 125, Khalil Roundtree. So the sport works in many ways, right? You got a small cage, you got a big cage. Sometimes you can move your opponent backwards. Sometimes you got these guys that are just front forward all the time. The thing with Khalil Roundtree, especially if he comes up in shape, you don't back him up. He is very, very thick. He's a very, very big guy. And almost similar to a Dolce Lungiambula or a Tufan Ninjokui, it's very hard to gain real estate on these guys. They're just such physical specimens. The difference between Khalil and those guys, he already learned his lessons. He was a bust. He had some good fights. He had some great fights. Knocked out Gokhan Saki. But he's turned out to be a bust. But then he reinvents himself. And he comes back to Vegas. And he puts in the work. And the dude's got the skill. He just never really was fully committed. And Tufan just needs to learn some more lessons. He's still very young in his career. Hasn't quite learned them yet. Dolce, he seems like a bit of a bust. He's a little bit older. But I just don't think he really ever took it to the highest level. Khalil, he learned the lessons. And he's come back a different fighter. And if you can't back him up, he's continuously coming forward on you. You can watch the Eric Anders fight. Of course, you can watch the Saki fight. You can watch the number of fights where he's at his best. He's a serious problem. Either he's going to shred your knee or he's going to clip you in the mouth and knock you out. He's a dangerous dude. So he comes out, and yeah, I mean, this was, I wouldn't say one-sided. The first round, Carl Roberson's backing up. He just doesn't really know what to do. Khalil Roundtree controls the octagon, letting him better strikes. Again, he's got the pressure. And if you're Roberson, you don't want to open up too much because it's like, this guy's just waiting to unload on me. So you try to play it smart. It's just very hard to keep focused and fight smart for 15 minutes. Eventually, something's going to go wrong. Second round, that's when things go wrong. He gets hit. He gets hurt. And Khalil Roundtree goes, I don't know what the expression would be. Some people call it ape shit. I don't really know what ape shit means, but it would be a good expression to call that. Buck wild. He went completely buck wild on him. He went into savage mode. He went to savage beast mode. Now, when I talk about Khalil Roundtree at his best, because I love to see this, right? Khalil Roundtree, first time I ever seen him, he's on the Ultimate Fighter. I didn't really watch his RFA career. Part of that, 2016 Ultimate Fighter Season 23, you got to win a fight to get in the house. He fights Mo DeReese, who's a bum, but he's a PFL veteran, Bellator veteran, all that jazz. A decent enough wrestler. And he shucks him off, puts him to the ground, and he soccer kicked him in the body. And it's one of the nastiest soccer kicks you'll ever see. Can't kick to the head, and he kicks to the body. And I remember saying to a bunch of people, and I would show the highlight to everybody, holy shit. And I would tell everybody, every so often you see a new move in the game, right? The wrist ride, right? People were never riding the wrist. They would get the takedown. They wouldn't try to just, take away one of the people's, like a table, right? Take away one of the arms of the table. They fold over, can't get back up. People weren't using the wrist ride. Then the Russians came in. A lot of the wrestlers would use it. Now it's a common position, right? No one really used the tie plum until Anderson Silva once upon a time blows people. Now it's a common move. The calf kick, right? No one was really using the calf kick a couple of years ago. And then you see some of these big leg kickers come into the game and just kind of reinvent it. When I saw him soccer kick the guy to the body, I was like, this is a new position. This is a new move. Because so many times do you stand up over a guy and he's curled up like that, and you have the opportunity to just whiff him one in the body, I can't imagine a singular blow to a body. The body is just as vulnerable as the head, if not more vulnerable, right? To kick a guy as hard as you can in the body, you're fucked, man. That's it. You're broken ribs. You're done. You're done. You see it in all the mob movies. Where's my money? Pow, pow. And the guy's spitting up blood. He's spitting up blood. Now it is just the movies. But I bet you if you went backstage with Moraes after that at Ultimate Fighter fight, probably spitting up blood. So when I saw it hit that position and he hoofed Carl Roberson in the body, and Roberson basically shit his pants and curled over, it was like a full circle moment. Khalil Roundtree back. And Khalil Roundtree back is a serious problem. So I don't know who wants to sign on the dotted line to fight him unless you're a good wrestler. Why do you want to stand with this guy? But I'm proud of this man. I'm proud of this man because he looked like he was a write-off. He flirted with the idea of moving to heavyweight. He flirted with the idea of retirement. He went to Thailand. Probably wasn't in the best of shape. And now he's just really turned things around. So that's awesome. Carl Roberson, total bust, right? Because we know he's not good on the ground. And now you know he's really not all that good standing, right? His ace in his back pocket was Glory kickboxing experience, fought Jerome Le Banner in France once upon a time. Good, long-rangey guy. I think he was also, he was training at Glory MMA and Fitness under James Crow. So he's put himself in a position to win. He just didn't have it. But maybe not to take away anything from his performances. He fought a beast of a man in Khalil Roundtree. Nothing you could do about it. So I won't completely write him off, but that was a bad look. Sodiq Yusuf versus Alex Caceres. I'm overexposed to Sodiq at this point. He's on the third line with Semelsberger. Dober came through. Basharat came through. Those tickets are still live. Semelsberger came through. Maverick came through. Pereira came through. We're in a very good position here. We need Yusuf. And now I just feel like, he's a minus 275 favorite. We put him maybe a tad high. I'm getting cold feet. Because Bruce Leroy always brings it. He always brings a good game. And here's the thing with MMA betting, and no digging the slightest bet to guys that are dog hunters, guys that want to go and bet that dog, is that sometimes they'll even admit, this guy, the favorite, probably only wins this fight 60% of the time. And the underdog, 40% of the time, of course, but the underdog is a 2-to-1 dog. He's a big plus money. He's a nice, good, lucrative price. Well, I'm going to bet it because it's the value side. And it is the value side. And I get that. It's not the way my brain operates. My brain is looking for what is the most likely outcome. And just like spinning a ball on a roulette table, one side's got 60%. The other guy's got 40%. And I don't give a fuck that the 40% pays more. I want the most likely outcome. In this fight, the most likely outcome is that Sodiq Yusuf would win, but you knew it was going to be close. And why is he on the third line anyways? But that's gambling. That's gambling. And we all know what we're getting ourselves into. Sometimes you got to take the shots. If you feel comfortable with it, do it. If you don't, you pass. We had to put on the big boy pants. That's what we did here in Sodiq Yusuf. And I don't know, man. The first round's greasy. The betting side of me thought that Sodiq Yusuf won the round. It was close. I think Bruce Leroy landed more volume. He had a couple tricky positions as well. Like he tried to take the back, landed probably, again, I think he outstruck him like 13-8. It just seemed like Yusuf was pressuring him better and landing the heavier strikes. It's a bit of a wash round. I do not feel good about it. So let's give it to Bruce Leroy just to be on the not safe side of things, but just, just to be clear, we're going to need the next two rounds. Second round, all right, this is what I signed up for. Sodiq Yusuf doing his thing. Bruce Leroy not physically strong enough to take him down. Sodiq's backing him up. The leg kicks are money. They're on point. Yeah, Bruce Leroy's still throwing back, but Sodiq's now finding his volume, and he's landing the better strikes. This is a very clear second round. It's 1-1 is our worst case scenario. We might be up 2-0, which would be nice. But 1-1's our worst case scenario, which means we need the third round. Third round's close, man. Again, Bruce Leroy did an excellent job of landing, right? He was landing some tricky strikes, but I hate to call it rinky-dink. So Bruce Leroy hasn't knocked a guy out since 2008, right? So that's a stretch of 14 years. It was a second pro fight in the Florida regional scene. Is that a knockout guy, right? So when you're fighting him, similar to JJ Aldrich, they're going to need to land way more than even strike with you. It can't be 20 aside. It's 20 for you, 20 heavy strikes, 20 for them. It's touch, touch, go. It's just not, the numbers will look the same, but the judges are not going to act the same. And whereas this is a close third round, I think Sodiq wins this. But this is one of those fights that it could be 30-27 Sodiq. It could be 29-28 Sodiq. It could be 29-28 Bruce Leroy. I went to cry robbery. I would have been upset. I felt Sodiq won. I'm not sure who thought Bruce Leroy won that fight. it just wasn't a runaway. Dude was like a minus 275 favorite. Like that's supposed to be a little easier. It just wasn't. So I don't take anybody. If you took a shot on Bruce Leroy, like, yeah, your guy came out there and performed. It's just Sodiq was a slightly better guy. What's his upside? I don't know. He didn't really look good in this fight to me. He got the victory. But again, I don't know how good his striking really is. I don't really know how good his ground game is. His cardio, to me, not great. He won the second round easy. He should have pulled away in the third. Wasn't quite able to do so. His chin's been a problem. Not going to be a problem against Bruce Leroy. He's not a heavy hitter. But against other guys, it's going to come back up. I don't know that this was a good performance for him. And for Bruce Leroy, he's just a gatekeeper, right? Guy's got a ton of losses on his record. He's not ashamed of that. Shouldn't be ashamed of that. Snaps a 4-fight winning streak. But he'll get on another one against Contender Series guys and guys on their way out, and build up another 2-3 fights, and then he'll lose to a fringe 15 contender, and he'll just repeat the process. It's who he is. He's lost fights before. It's not a big deal. The guy's always live, right? He's a live underdog. He is a perennial live underdog. Happy to get through this one, but could have gone wrong. Could have gone wrong. Song Yadong, Marlon Moraes. If you get clipped early from Marlon, things will go wrong. If you can just last a few minutes and land on him, that just seems to be his downfall. MMA is a very unique sport in the sense that you're actively cheering for somebody's failure, but at the same time, you need to recognize that they're a human being, right? So we all want Marlon Moraes to lose. A lot of us want Marlon Moraes to lose under 1.5 rounds. A lot of us want Marlon Moraes to get knocked out. The guy's got a family. He's 33 years old. He's been a warrior of the game, World Series of Fighting champion, came to the UFC, beat Jose Aldo. People say it was a bullshit decision. Fuck you. Legit decision. But at some point, the chin left him. And like a Cody Garbrandt, once the chin leaves you, it's not coming back. Cody's a little bit younger. He's going to try to reinvent himself and try the damn thing again, I'm sure. With Marlon, again, at 33, not old. 33 is not old, not in the fight game. But at bantamweight, it's kind of old. And just the damage has been done. Now, the UFC is a cruel organization in the sense that they pay their fighters well. Well, they don't. Marlon Moraes is worth $500,000 a fight, not $250,000 a fight. But that's what they pay him, and that's big money by their standards, right? He makes $120,000 just to show up. He makes $120,000 if he's to win. That's $240,000. Again, he's worth way more than that, but that's big by the UFC standards. So they can bring in some Contender Series guy that'll fight for 12-12, or they can pay Marlon $240. If they're going to pay Marlon $240, he's got to fight good guys. When he fights good guys, he's a live dog. Almost knocked out Merab Dvalishvili. Maybe we're not having this conversation right now if he did win that fight, but he didn't. He took a career worth beating in that fight. Ton of damage. Got knocked out. Seems to be getting knocked out in all of his fights. And Song clips him. So like a football game, you can be like, yeah, I really hope Cincinnati loses, right? And who cares? Everyone's going to go home with their wife and kids, and everybody's going to play next week. They're all going to play next week. And this guy played like shit all season, and he's going to get cut, and he's going to sign with the Tennessee Titans, and he's going to be fine. Like, life goes on, right? With Marlon, you want him to lose. You want him to lose. He gets knocked out. You cheer, and then part of you feels like dirty money. So dirty money does pay the bills and does keep you warm at nights. I can't complain too much, but I did. Part of me did feel bad about that one. And for Song Yadong, 24 years old, the best Chinese fighter on the roster. Weili Zhang probably, 1-2 argument for both. One's a champion, former champion. But this guy's 24 years old, and he's been doing nothing but getting better and better. He's taken a couple licks. He's taken a couple lessons. He's learned from it. He trains at an excellent gym, Team Alpha Male, and they're really geared on this guy. He just keeps getting better and better. It wasn't like Marlon fought a bad fight. It's that he fought one hell of a tyrant of a Chinese prospect because the UFC wanted to earn that money. So they gave him the best guy available. Song Yadong proved to be one of the best guys available. And you can't even say, well, Marlon can't take a punch anymore. That uppercut would knock out a lot of guys, man. It was a hell of a punch. It just happens in Marlon's case that because he's always fighting excellent talent, he's always getting hit by excellent punches, and now he's falling over. I'm not urging him to retire. Full-grown man can make any decision he wants. If he wants to, if the UFC offers him another fight, he takes it, cool. If he goes to Bellator, if he goes to PFL, if he goes to ACA, he can go to any organization in the world. I'll tune in, I'll watch. I'm just saying this was a tough one. And writing's on the wall. Hopefully he makes the right decision. Magomed Ankalaev versus Thiago Santos. At this point, we're sitting good. At this point, we're sitting great, right? We've got our fourth line, Dober, Basharat. We got it. Yusuf, Semelsberger, we're good. Maverick, Song Yadong, that was actually the easiest line in the whole card. Pereira, he came through. We need Magomed Ankalaev. Not only a fool would not hedge out of the situation because you're looking at a whole lot of money. And most hedge situations, it's like, oh, it's even money or whatever it is. you got to put a bunch of money to hedge out. This you don't. Thiago Santos goes off as a plus 400 underdog. It didn't take much to hedge out. I know people like to let it ride. Of course, we all like to let it ride. If you let it ride, you risk losing everything. Now we're gamblers, right? That's a risk that we're all willing to take. But let's say you bet $100, right? You bet your top 4 tickets there. You bet $100. You got $50 on your top ticket. You got $25 on your second ticket. You got $15 on your third ticket. You move down incrementally. You spend your $100. Your bottom line only has a little bit. At this point, you're looking pretty good. Okay, my top ticket hits. I'm going to have a second ticket, a third ticket, fourth ticket. I'm going to triple up my money on my $100. Now, let's say you're betting $1,000. Let's say you, like me, you've built it up over time. You don't just rush these things. You don't take out a loan. You don't put it on your credit card. Take your time. Build it up. When you do build it up and you know you got your money set aside, you're playing with house money, which is all we did here. We crushed Bellator 2 weeks ago, that Ireland card, cleaned up on the UFC, survived 272 because the top line still hit. It's all house money, all built up house money. Put it on here. Take the shot. Worst case scenario, lose. You start back up with your original investment. Like, don't ever lose that original investment. Always put that aside. But you can let it rush. But a guy like me, right? If I got $10,000 riding on this thing, I could put $1,000 on Thiago Santos, pays $4,000. If Ankalaev loses for whatever reason, I still get $4,000. If he wins, I still get $9,000. You can't be greedy. Now, the kind of payday that I hit this weekend, we're looking at $100,000. So am I going to let? Well, I had Bellator play, so it's not like the whole 100 was riding, but would it be financially responsible to let that much ride on Ankalaev just because he's a big favorite, just because he's Russian and we like him? No, it would be a bad fucking decision. And that's why bankroll management is so key. You got to be smart about it. Be smart about it. Don't rush it. Process. The cliche sayings, it's a marathon, not a sprint. But it's true. It's true. It's a 52-week long season. There's fights every week. You don't got to force it. Take your time. This one just happened to work out well. But you got to take it a slight hedge off on Thiago Santos. You just quite simply have to do it. And that's what I did. So I'm sitting pretty either way going into this main event. And then I got my Bellator shit later, but this is not a Bellator recap, so don't worry about that. But yeah, we need an Ankalaev win. That seals the deal. That allows people that didn't hedge out to win because they're sour if they didn't hedge out and they lost. Oh, what the fuck, man? Top ticket guy. Everybody's happy if Ankalaev wins. I get more money, obviously, because I didn't hedge out. 50-50. We need Ankalaev to win still, but at least I'm a little bit safe. There's a safety net in case anything wants to go wrong. First round, Ankalaev, he's not doing a whole lot, but again, I'm okay with this because it's a surgical approach. People don't like it, but they didn't like grapple fucking somebody. They didn't like it. George St. Pierre's so boring. Well, he spent 23 minutes of a 25-minute fight on top of the guy. So I don't know what the judges were thinking, but it was 50-45, and I didn't have to sweat it once. I had 2 piss breaks and went out for a beer. Didn't have to worry about it. Guy just dominated. You like those really cautious approaches because they are winning approaches. Fans don't like it. Fans want excitement. Fans want brutality. Here's my answer to that. Go fuck yourself, right? Because as Murzakanov, he landed a flying knee up the middle. You got violence. Guido Canetti bombed him, this motherfucker, standing TKO. He was on it. It was violence. Cody Brundage, oh man, he's getting his ass kicked. Guillotine from the jaws of life. Brandon Maverick, ragdoll Sabina Mazzo to the ground. Choked out with a rear naked choke. Damon Jackson, big brother, Kirk, kicked his ace. Jabby Basharat versus Trevin Jones. A little more of a sparring pace. Good fight though. JJ Aldrich, Robertson, sparring pace. Not a great fight. Semelsberger versus Fletcher, fight of the night. These guys went for it. These guys grinded. Who wanted it more? It's good stuff. Pereira fought that surgical approach I was talking about Bruno. The difference is that Bruno brings the heat. Thiago was expected to bring the heat, but that's not him anymore, right? He doesn't really do that anymore. That ended up kind of being the difference. But this, all I'm really getting at, Drew Dober. How much violence was in that fight? Dober versus Terrence McKinney. Khalil Roundtree. Probably one of the more violent finishes you've seen in a long time. Cody Saftic versus Caceres, not all that good. Song Yadong, holy shit. This card had it all. Who are we to complain if Ankalaev wants to take the easy way out? I don't care. I don't care in the slightest bit. First round, he's doing that. It's a methodical approach. By the numbers, they pretty much land the same amount of strikes. But you wouldn't know it because he kind of rocks Thiago Santos with I think it was a check right hook. He was really trying to set up the right hook. His problem is that he was trying to counterpunch. Pressure, draw out the strikes, counter on it, right? Whereas Bruno Silva, if you pressure him, he would unleash, it leads to a fight. Ankalaev was trying to pressure him to hit that check right hook. just wasn't there. What he wanted to do was check right hook and then get Thiago Santos to eat the right hook, circle away, and he was going to go left high kick to the head. Tried it a few times, got close a few times. It just didn't really materialize. Wins the first round. It's just not a runaway round, but he's keeping himself out of danger. That's the main thing. Second round, same shit. Very measured approach, backing him up. It's not the most entertaining fight in the world, but we got a lot of money on this right now. I don't really care about that. I don't care it's the most entertaining fight in the world. We're banking up rounds. We're winning the fight. This is what we want. There's like 20 seconds left, 10 seconds left. He had already won the round. Boom, clip. That's the problem with Thiago, is that he wasn't doing shit. He was backing up, but he was waiting to unload with something. He clips Ankalaev. Ankalaev's never been knocked out in his career. So, we assume he's got a good chin. Volkan Oezdemir felted him with a beautiful uppercut, took it like nothing, and now Thiago Santos just clipped him. He goes down, but he seems with it. And he kind of got rocked twice in the round for me, but again, there's only, 15 seconds left, so he's somewhat saved by the bell. But when he got up and went to his corner between that second and third round, he wasn't rocked. He was clear-eyed. He was good. He was with it. Comes out in the third round, and it's like, he's not hurt. Didn't skip a beat. And Thiago's not Thiago anymore. The knee surgeries, like the guy used to go out there and create a fight. Let's brawl. Let's fight. Either you're going to hit me or I'm going to hit you. But if I hit you, I got more dynamite in these hands. He just doesn't do that anymore. We all laughed at Johnny Walker in the Thiago Santos fight, saying that John Kavanagh had ruined him and he wasn't doing anything. But you got to fault Thiago Santos in that fight because he didn't do shit as well. And that's what he did here. He backed up the entire time, waited for one big shot, kind of landed in the second. Well, it did land in the second, right? It probably stole in the round. I thought it stole in the round. Let's say it's 1-1. The third round, he just no sense of urgency. He had an okay third round, right? But I scored it for Ankalaev. And even if you did, for whatever reason, score the third round for Thiago Santos and you got this thing 2-1, fourth and fifth round, Ankalaev, just piecing him out, bagging him up, landing strikes. Now, I just want to address one thing because this was a walk in the park. Just want to address one thing. So a lot of people were saying, why didn't he wrestle? Why didn't he wrestle? Well, Thiago Santos, not that good. You just take the guy down, and then that way you don't got to worry about his big power, and you neutralize him, and you tire him, and you grind him, and you could have put a bigger beating. And this guy's a combat sambo guy, and we know that he can wrestle. Why didn't he wrestle? Excellent question. To that, I would answer, he's worried about tiring himself. Listen, you got a 5-round fight, and taking on a guy who's got nothing other than power. And when a desperate guy gets in a desperate situation, he's tired, he's going to throw that power. Now, if Ankalaev just stands measured and just jabs this guy and front kicks this guy, he's not exerting any energy. He can do this for 5 rounds. He can do this for 10 rounds. He's not exerting any energy. He starts shooting takedowns, okay? You know what's going to happen? He's going to need a couple elbows on the side of the head. He's going to need a couple shots on the side of the head. He's going to have to grab this guy who weighs 220 pounds because, yes, this is fight night, right? It's not weigh-in day. He weighs 220 pounds. You're going to have to peel this man to the ground. He's technically a black belt, even though he doesn't really have much of a ground game as far as I'm concerned. It results in a lot of energy. Now the round ends. Now the third round, well, let's wrestle some more. You wrestle some more. Now the fourth round, maybe even the fifth round. You're tired. Now that you're tired and he's tired, it's going to become a bum fight. And when it becomes a bum fight, it usually favors the brawler. Brawlers can get tired and just throw because they're only throwing 1 or 2 punches and they have power. If Ankalaev got tired from over-wrestling, overexerted himself, and all of a sudden, 4th and 5th round, he's fatigued, can't get the takedown, hands are low, standing back, it's going to be a repeat of the second. Thiago's going to sense that. Thiago's corner is going to sense that. He's going to put his foot on the gas. Instead, he just laid back, pick and choose his spots, did get clipped once, otherwise wins this thing 49-46, maybe at worst 48-47. This is a clear win. This is a clean win. I know people are shitting on him saying Jamal Hill is the truth and dust this guy. Well, I think in the Hill fight, you do take him down. Different strategies for different guys. The way to beating Hill would be taking him down. I think Ankalaev would do that in that spot. But we will not know until they book the fight. And I would love to see them book the fight. And for Thiago Santos, veteran of the game, high-profile guy, why not keep him around to have some fun fights? Because he's not fighting fun, right? His last 2 fights have been complete washouts. In fact, you can make an argument, all of his fights since the John Jones fight, which I honestly didn't think was very good. He's not the entertainer that he previously was. He's not as mobile. He's 38 years old. He throws these big lumbering shots and he doesn't throw a whole lot of them. He backs up for a guy that's a big physical specimen, has a goddamn hammer tattooed on his chest. He's just backing up the whole time, hanging at the base of the cage. He actually kind of squeaked out that Johnny Walker win. It was very ultra unimpressive. And now he loses, in my opinion, a clear-cut decision in which he just never followed up on his one moment in the second round. Not a good performance. Where does he go from here? I don't know. The difference between him and Marlon is Marlon's chin shot. You don't really feel good booking him for other fights. Thiago, you could book him for other fights, but he has the same problem as Marlon in that he makes a whole lot of money. And they're not going to keep a guy on the roster who makes a whole lot of money who's just not engaging, 38, not engaging, not fighting, best wins are all of a sudden, fading behind you. But I think him versus Jan Blachowicz is the fight to make. Jan needs a bounce back. Thiago Santos already beat him. Jan's the kind of guy that pressures and stays in your face and will throw more than Ankalaev. So it could be a fun fight. And I think Thiago's still got some purpose. It's not like he's on a long losing streak. It's not like he's getting knocked out. It's that he's lost the magic. And he was one of these guys that kind of relied on the magic. So now that it's gone, I just don't know what the future has for Magomed Ankalaev. I don't think his stock drops in my opinion, but I know other people are understandably probably a little bit upset. So anyways, that's what it is. We are just about under an hour, so we will leave it at that. And yeah, man, it was a good UFC. People want the PRP hit. We got one on Bellator. That was cool, but it's not all about the PRP hit, right? It's about being smart, investing at the top. You got your top two guys, got your top ticket. If they win, you should be good. 272. I mean, that Ulan-Bekov decision. Fucking Ulan-Bekov decision. Tim Elliott, my God, did not win that fight. On a card like that, at least the top ticket hit, it's slight profit, which you don't want to do. And I get people message me. They'll be like, oh, you put a unit on every line? Because, of course, you want to hit a unit on that fourth line. But it's like, no, you don't. Well, it depends on how much you're gambling. But if you're only betting, let's call it $100. You have $100. Half of your money is on that top ticket. If you're betting $1,000, which I don't recommend it, but this is all entirely up to you. Your quality of life, you got student loan, you got car payments, you got a family. Like I can't make those choices for you. You're a grown adult. You got to do it yourself. But whatever you're betting, if you're just strictly tailing these tickets and these tweets, right? Half of the amount that you plan on betting for the car on that top ticket. If everything goes wrong, the guy on the top ticket loses, all your money's gone. That's why it's tough to bet big amounts, and it's all gone. But if the top two guys can at least hit, then you're good. You're not going to lose any money, right? It's when the second ticket hits, we're looking at a nice little profit here. When the third ticket hits, it's like, we had a good night. This was a good night, plus 500. Not fourth ticket hits. It's a plus 1,500. You're laughing, man. You're laughing. Eagle FC on Friday, did awesome there. Didn't quite hit a PRP, but 7-1, I think. And then the Bellator card 10-0. So it was just a good weekend all over. Thanks to DraftKings Sportsbook. I didn't crush them at least, so they're fortunate for that. They sponsor the show, and without them, there probably wouldn't be a show, at least not on this platform. Shout out to Mayo Media Network, best in the business. Pat does an excellent job of recruiting the best minds. Truly do believe that, and my longtime friend and former roommate, so shout out to him as always. And shout out to you guys, man. The love has just been endless, People got a lot of gratitude. They say, oh, you're the GOAT, you got this and that, this and that. It's not me. It's not me. It's you. It's you. All I do is go out there and ramble for an hour to myself, nobody around here, and just give my picks, my thoughts. Yeah, this is what I like. This is what I don't like. This is what I think could happen, right? Does it always happen? No. We write all the time? No. But you're the individual who listens. You may listen to some of the other good shows as well. You may do your own research. You may exclusively listen to this. I don't know. But you do all that on your own. You press the buttons on your own. You take the risk on your own. You deserve to win. You deserve to win. You did the research. You did it all. So shout out to the fans. The fact that you guys give me all that love and support, I really do appreciate it. Keeps a guy happy, keeps a guy motivated. You always want to keep on going. And yeah, that's what we're going to do here. So I'd like to take a little bit of a vacation, and I'm certainly going to ease back. You're not going to see me try to go for 300,000 next week. You're not going to see me try to even get to the 200, 250. It's about cashing out. It's about being smart. It's about starting back over. It's about just hitting these winning tickets. So we'll check out that UFC. Is it in London? Pretty sure it's in London. It's in the UK regardless. Check out that UFC card. There's a PFL Challenger Series. We'll see if that's any good. There's a KSW. Probably don't want to get that greasy, especially because I'm preaching bankroll management. So I hope you guys had a good weekend. I hope everybody had a good weekend. You crushed the bookie. You had a great time. Enjoy it. Cheers. And if you did not, for whatever reason, we'll get it back next time, man. No hustle. No harm done. We'll get it back next time. And until then, I'll catch you guys later. Take it easy.
Oh!